concerts should begin like that, shouldn't they? Terrific. Good afternoon. Thank you all very much for coming, so many of you. This is the Junior Academy Symphony Orchestra, led by George Clifford and their conductor Peter Stark, and that was Sunrise from a tone poem by Richard Strauss called Also sprach Zarathustra, and they deserve a round of applause for it. Featuring, which you will hear later, the mighty organ, every single pipe rattling there with Stephen's foot stuck down on the accelerator, and it's fantastic noise which we hear later on in the concert. You've already heard quite a lot of music downstairs outside in the foyer from the Surrey Youth Brass Quintet, upstairs on the stage from the Andrea Nicolai strings from Orpington, and also our 4 wandering minstrels, who I'd like you to thank. Our 4 wandering, if they'd stand up when I read their names out. Maya Kadish, Megan Cassidy, Peter Facer and Andrew Littlemore have all been down playing for you in the foyer really well. Thank you. We try in all of these concerts to do loud music, quiet music, fast music, slow music, good music, and happy music. And this next piece, which is really, really sad. It is called Valse Triste, which is French for sad waltz. And the main tune goes, this waltz is, to say the least, sad so it is called Valse Triste, because it's miserable. It's by Sibelius. Sibelius was Finnish, not French, and he wrote it for a play, a Finnish play with an extremely jolly title. The play was called Death. And this was played by an orchestra in the pit, while the Grim Reaper came on, grabbed hold of the heroine, and danced her around the stage in a sort of dance of death, a terrible last waltz. And you will hear this, this is the last waltz tune that you will hear. It goes. Mr. Sibelius under an alias wrote just as gaily as Mozart or Strauss, but he was much handier at slow Finnish grandeur in things like Karelia and also Finlandia. Mr. Sibelius under an alias wrote just as gaily as Mozart or Strauss, and it kind of goes on like that. You will never now forget that tune, and you will never be able to hear this piece without hearing those words. I'm sorry to have spoiled it for you. You will hear that tune first of all, I think, played by the oboe, is it? No, it's played by the strings, and then flute and the clarinet, yes. And lots and lots of other tunes all mixed together, because Sibelius was a clever chap. This then is the very sad Valse Triste by Sibelius. Another sad thing, if you're a composer, every time your music gets played, you get paid a little bit of money. And when you're a famous composer, your music gets played on radio and on television, and you get paid more money. But that's usually when you're quite a bit older. The struggle is when you're a young composer. And Sibelius wrote that 100 years ago, almost exactly, when he was just in his early 20s and struggling. And it was the most popular piece of music he ever wrote. But he never got all the money he should have got later in life when it was played over and over again. Because when he was 21, he sold it to a publisher for about 75p. And 75p was all he ever made out of it. I know, it is sad, isn't it? Yeah. Now then, before we started, right at the beginning, we heard the organ. First thing we heard. Now we're going to hear it again with the whole orchestra. Where the last piece died away to nothing, this piece here is one of the loudest pieces ever written. It's by Saint-Saëns, French composer, and it was used in a film called Babe. And I'm sure lots of you have seen the film called Babe. The big tune from this was used in Babe, and it goes like this. I found an organ out in the yard. I tried to play it, found it was too hard. I sent it off to Christian Barnard, and now I have an organ donor card. For the younger ones among you, Christian Barnard is a great heart surgeon, and given Tony Blair and a pair of jump leads, he would have known exactly what to do. Later on, there's a much less grand and stentorian tune than that. It's the one I was thinking of before for the oboe, which is played by the oboe first, and then the clarinet, and then the flute. Could the oboe and the clarinet and the flute just stand up? Sorry, you don't have to play anything. And just hold your instruments up so that when you hear them, you know where the noise is coming from back there, those three. And again, thinking back to Babe, the tune that they play goes, a pig has feelings too, just as Piglet loved who. So you'll recognise that when it turns up. This has got the lot, this piece. For two piano players, 4 hands on the one piano, the Festival Hall organ, and Stephen Graal playing it. It is the Maestroso from Saint-Saëns Symphony No. 3. Listening to that at home, on the radio or on the CD, you would probably turn up the quiet bits and turn down the loud bits. And one of the great things about a live concert is that you can't do that. That when it gets really quiet, you have to strain forward and listen. And when it gets really loud, you just have to lie back and enjoy it. It's terrific. Well done. Really, smashing. We always have a brand new piece of music. First performance, a world premiere at these concerts. Every single music, at one point in its life, had its first ever performance. Pieces of music that are 300 years old, at one point were performed for the first time with a nervous composer sitting in the stalls biting his nails and wondering if it was going to go all right. And so today we've got a nervous young composer who's been sitting in the stalls, and I'm going to ask him to come up because he has written this piece for us, and he is called Thomas Hewitt-Jones. Tommy, will you come up on stage? Tommy, when did you start playing anything at all?
I think my first experience was the age of sort of 3 going 4, playing a bit of violin. But I've always sort of wanted to compose. It's something I've always sort of done.
And when did you first compose?
I wrote my first piece at 6. I've got it here. It's called A Sunshine Evening, and it says "For Daddy" on it.
Oh, that's sweet. It's really neat, actually. It's really neatly written out, written when you were 6. Hang on to that, because one day it's going to be worth millions of pounds in an auction. Now, this piece is a bit more sophisticated than that. We asked you to write 3 minutes about war. And that's all we said. So, how did you approach that?
Well, I thought I had 2 options, really. I could either go for a very sort of brash extemporization on the idea of war and sort of conflict, or I could try and add an extra dimension and try and get a bit of sort of suffering in there. So that's what I've tried to do by adding 2 rather sort of subdued sections on each end of the war. So it's kind of depicting human suffering and tension, really.
Lovely. We're going to hear it now. Tommy, thank you very much indeed. Go and sit and bite your nails. There are loads and loads of pieces of music, trumpets and drums, doing victory and triumph. Nowadays we look at war in a different way, And so this has the trumpets, it has the drums, but it has the pain and it has the fear in it as well. It's the world premiere of War by Thomas Hewitt-Jones. Our song is on the same subject. And those of you who've managed to get a program, we have done the words for you in the smallest font we could possibly find, and a particularly difficult one to read, actually, but it's quite easy. If you haven't got a program, it's really quite simple. We're going to divide you into two choirs, which means, I think, straight down the middle, right? Lady in green, you're that side. The young lady in pink, you're this side. You're the leader of this choir, right? You are people who just say, leave me in peace, basically. And you are the ones who say, that's all very well to say that, but there is a point at which, if they won't leave you in peace, something has to be done about it. Which is, of course, the whole question as to at what point you make that decision. The chorus is really quite simple. I'll try and do all of it and point at who's going to sing it at various points. Could I have an E flat? Thank you. She did that without looking. That's very good. The chorus goes, what would you fight for? Leave me in peace. Answer the question. Go away and leave me in peace. Let's just do that bit. What would you fight for? Leave me in peace. Answer the question. Go away and leave me in peace. Let's do that again. What would you fight? 3, 4. What would you fight for? Leave me in peace. Answer the question. Go away and leave me in peace. Very good. And then before they finish that last bit, you go, take a stand. Take your head out of the sand. Leave me in peace. Leave me in peace. There are usually, I think, 2 beats on the word peace. Peace. Come off on the third one, right? Let's see if we can do the whole of the chorus. What would you fight for? 1, 2, 3, sing. What would you fight for? Leave me in peace. Answer the question. Go away and leave me and take a stand. Take your head out of the sand. Leave me in peace. Leave me in peace. And again. What would you fight for? Leave me in peace. Answer the question. Go away and leave me in peace. Just stand. Take your head out of the sand. Leave me in peace. Leave me in peace. Now, mostly, this lot have decided to sing, and this lot aren't sure whether you're in choir 1 or choir 2. So I've invented choir 3, which is completely silent throughout. This is a song about war, even though it's called Leave Me in Peace. So let us do it quite vigorously, with a little bit of hate in it. Right, so sing again, but this time with some hate. Right, what would you fight for? From there. When you come to peace, if you're not sure when to put the s at the end of peace, just put it once. If you're not sure, it doesn't sound best to go please. So fewer snakes over here, please. What would you fight for? 1, 2, 3, loudly. What would you fight for? Answer the question. Go away. Take a stand. Take your head out of the sand. Leave me in peace. Leave me in peace. Good. Never mind the snakes. Adds to the hatred, really. Right. We're now going to try the whole song. And when we come to just the chorus, you join in. Otherwise, our wonderful choir will do it. Would you have a round of applause as they stand up for choirs from all of our schools who have come along today? And you will also notice that Peter Stark has changed terrifically and has now become Sue Barber. Would you welcome her, please? for narrator and orchestra, which is a bit dull. So we thought we would have 4 narrators and orchestra. Helping me, would you please welcome onto the stage Eleni, who is going to be the duck, and Joshua, who is going to be the bird, and Lydia, who is going to be the cat. On you come. Now, in this story, Peter is a boy of about 7 3/4, and he lives with his grandfather in a cottage in the Russian countryside. And the cottage garden backs onto a field, and beyond the field is a forest where the wolves live. There's a big tree in the garden whose branches stretch over the garden wall and dangle over the field. And Peter has no brothers and sisters, so his best friends are a bird,
That's me!
and a duck,
That's me!
and a cat. And a cat.
I thought I was the wolf.
No, you're the cat.
Okay, cool. I'm a cat.
The bird and the duck and the cat are all very fond of Peter,
We can't stand each other.
and everybody in the story has their own music so that you know who's who.
The bird is played by the flute. The duck is played by the oboe. The cat is played by the clarinet.
Grandpapa is an old man with a stick, so he should really be played by the conductor. If we did not have such a wonderfully young conductor, totally inappropriate. But in fact, Grandpapa is played by the bassoon. The wolf is played by 3 French horns. Peter is played by all of the strings. The guns of the hunters are played by the kettle drummers. This then is the story of Peter,
And the bird, and the duck, and the cat.
and the wolf. One fine morning, Peter opened the garden gate and went out into the big green meadow. On a branch of a big tree sat a little bird, Peter's friend. The bird chirped cheerfully,
All is quiet, all is quiet.
Soon, a duck came waddling around. It was glad that Peter had not closed the gate, because in the meadow was a deep pond.
Time for my morning swim.
Seeing the duck, the little bird flew down, landed on the grass next to it, and shrugged her shoulders.
So what kind of bird are you, if you can't fly?
Said the bird, and the duck replied,
And what kind of a bird are you, if you can't swim?
and dived into the pond. They argued and argued, the duck swimming in the pond and the little bird hopping along the shore. Suddenly, something caught Peter's attention. He noticed a cat crawling through the grass. The cat thought,
The bird is busy arguing. I'll just grab him.
and stealthily he crept towards the bird on his velvet paws. Look out! Shouted Peter, and the bird immediately flew up into the tree. Duck quacked furiously at the cat from the middle of the pond. And the cat crawled round the tree and thought,
They're not really frightened of me at all. I wish I was the wolf.
Grandpapa came out. He was angry, because he was 85 and his knees hurt, and Peter had left the gate open. What if a wolf came out of the forest and ate you? Peter paid no attention to his crotchety old grandfather. Boys like him are not afraid of wolves. Nevertheless, Grandpapa took Peter by the hand, led him home, and locked the gate. As soon as they had gone, a big grey wolf came out of the forest. Quick as a flash, the cat climbed up the tree. The duck quacked.
Help!
And in her excitement,
Help!
jumped out of the pond. But no matter how hard
Help!
the duck tried to run, she couldn't escape the wolf. He was getting nearer, nearer, getting very close, and then he got her. With one gulp, he swallowed her. So, this is how things stood. The cat was sitting on one branch, the bird on another. Not too close to the cat. while the wolf, full of duck, but still hungry, walked round the tree, looking at them with greedy eyes. Meanwhile, Peter, without the slightest fear, stood behind the closed gate, watching everything that was going on. He ran home, got a strong rope, and climbed up the high stone wall. One of the branches of the tree around which the wolf was walking stretched out over the wall. Grabbing hold of the branch, Peter lightly climbed up into the tree. Peter said to the bird, "Fly down and circle round the wolf's head. Only take care that he doesn't catch you."
"No problem,"
said the bird. The bird almost touched the wolf's head with his wings, while the wolf snapped angrily at him from this side and that. How the bird did annoy the wolf! How the wolf wanted to catch him! But a bird can fly, while a wolf can only snap. And flying beats snapping every time. Meanwhile, Peter tied a noose, carefully letting it down. He caught the wolf by the tail and pulled as hard as he could. Feeling himself caught, the wolf began to jump wildly, trying to get free. Peter tied the other end of the rope to the tree. And the wolf's jumping only made the rope round his tail tighter. some hunters came out of the woods. Following the wolf's trail and shooting as they went. Sitting up in the tree and trying to dodge the bullets, said, "Don't shoot. Birdie and I have already caught the wolf. Just help us take him to the zoo." So, there we are. Imagine triumphant procession. At its head, Peter. After him, the hunters leading the wolf. Winding up the procession came Grandpapa and the cat. Grandpapa shook his old head grumpily. He said, "But what if Peter hadn't caught the wolf, eh? Who'd have got the blame then? chirping merrily.
Hey, didn't we do well, Peter and me? We caught a wolf. What's more, we got rid of the duck.
Inside the wolf, the duck had an idea. She ruffled her feathers and tickled his insides, and the wolf coughed and coughed again, and with one final cough, spat out the duck, still alive and quacking. Thank you very much to my four colleagues, actually, because Bronwyn Mater was also here in case any of us suddenly had to go to the loo or was sick. I was ready to stand in for any one of the four of us, so big thanks to her. And lots of thanks to lots and lots of other people. First of all, our choirs and Sue Barber and Helen Jones, our accompanist. To all of our wandering minstrels, to the staff here who've been so helpful as they always are, to Larry Westland and Sam Weitzel of Westland Associates who put the concerts on, and of course most of all to our orchestra and our conductor Peter Stark. In a moment or two, Peter and I will be down in the foyer signing the many, many t-shirts because we've over-ordered. We have got lots and lots of Stilgoe Family Concerts t-shirts. One colour for strings, one colour for brass, one colour for percussion, one colour for woodwind, and all of them if you can play everything. Our next concert is on the 27th of November at 3:30 here. 27th of November, we will have some Enigma variations and the Thunder and Lightning Polka, and because it's nearly Christmas then, the Snowman. And we finish today with Johann Strauss. There are lots of Strausses. We had a Strauss right at the beginning. This one is no relation to him, but he is the father of the one who wrote all the waltzes. This one, Johann Strauss' dad, wrote one famous piece. It's this. And nobody ever hears it because you all clap all the way through it. Peter will tell you when to clap at the right times, and then you can listen to the other bits. It's called the Radetzky March. It's by Johann Strauss' dad. Thank you all for coming, and we will see you next time.